So I'm here with my friend Kevin Barata. So this is our first in-person interview, which is really cool. I wanted to sit down and have a chat with Kev so you guys can get to know him a little bit. The mindset he has being an ultramarathon runner as well as in his professional career. Super cool. I think it's a lot of carryover for us as athletes, even though it's a different discipline. And then he's got a big run coming up at the end of the month. It's a fundraiser, so I wanted to give Kev a platform to let you guys know about that, how you can be involved, and how we can support the run and the fundraiser with the run.
Cool.
Kev, anything you want to say to start?
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity to have a voice and yeah, spread some news and some hopefully motivate people and some advice just from my experiences. I'm by no means an expert or anything, but you just it's like you said, it's a mindset that you adopt, and yeah, you just you don't quit, you just keep going.
Awesome. So for the guys that don't know you, why don't you start with a little background?
Sure.
Give us a little info.
So my name is Kevin Barata. I'm 42 years old. Grew up in Alberta, moved to BC in 2003 when I got posted here, a member of the RCMP. So I've been with the RCMP for about 17 years now. In the last about 11 years with the emergency response team, which is essentially the SWAT team for the RCMP. We're a full-time team here in the Lower Mainland. I started running about 6-7 years ago. I had an injury at work. I broke my elbow, and I couldn't really lift weights or do anything then, so started running, and then it kind of just became a slow progression where I started with 10Ks and 5Ks, and then you're always thinking, well, can I go a little bit further? And before, in a couple of years, I was running 100-mile races, and now it's kind of my jam. It's what I like to do. I'm not a fast runner, but I just like the challenge of going far.
Yeah, Kev says he's not a fast runner, but let me tell you guys, he's pretty fast compared to the rest of us. That's awesome, man. So, I mean, you've had some big runs. You've done a bunch of 100-milers already. This year, the last one you did was the quarantine last man standing race. Yes. Which was, what was that, a month ago or so?
Yeah, beginning of April.
Yeah, and so the format for that race, for you guys who don't know, the last man standing is, it's just over 4 miles, so like 6.5K. Every hour that has to be completed, you get the rest of the hour to rest, and then you keep going until the last guy quits, basically, or second to last guy quits. Right. So how many guys were in that race, Kev?
So that was so that race evolved because of COVID-19. Like every race essentially worldwide has been canceled. So there was, I think when they announced it, I wasn't really keen on doing it, but then I've done a backyard race before, last man standing format last year, and I had good success there. It was a lot of fun.
And that one you were second place,
right? And that was in Alberta. So when I signed up for this one, I had no idea that it'd be this popular, but there ended up being like just over 2,500, I think was the official number of actual registrants. I don't know how many people actually started, but there was certainly over 2,000 people that started from 65 different countries. So it was kind of cool event in that sense, and everything was just done virtually. So you either ran on a treadmill or you can run from your house. And I ran from my house every time. So used my garage as a home base, and then just it was actually a 7.6 kilometer 7.6. And then you got an hour to complete it. So if you run it fast and you just rest for a longer period, if you run it slow and save some energy, then you have a shorter rest period. But every hour in the hour you had to start the loop, and if you fail to start, then you're out, or if you don't actually finish your 7.6 kilometer loop within the hour, then you're out as well.
Yeah. So for context, then, out of those, you were placed 17th, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, I think I was 15th.
15th.
There was myself and another guy. We tapped out at
same time.
At the same time, which is like 34 hours, the 34-hour mark. So.
And so 34 hours. So you ended up running
about 230 kilometers.
Yeah, about 230.
Roughly, yeah.
No big deal, just 230 kilometers.
Yeah, I mean, it's all relative, I suppose. So.
And I actually, I dropped off some coffees for you guys. I think maybe the second to last lap, and you still are smiling, still having fun.
Yeah, it's one of those things where
it's amazing,
I look back and I still kind of question why I quit. And I mean, I was still doing my strategy there was about 45 minutes, 45-minute laps, and I was pretty consistent that way. So, but you know, I knew that it was going to go long, and it ended up going quite a bit longer. The last two guys running, one guy was running in the Czech Republic on a treadmill, and the other guy was running around his neighborhood in Virginia, and they went for 62 hours. So
62 hours,
which is like 450K. So quite a bit longer.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was.
Unbelievable. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about the mindset that goes into doing that? I mean, it's like anything for people watching that don't necessarily run or do longer runs, but you always get to that point where, you know, it starts to hurt, and then being able to keep going through that. I mean, for me, it's at like 5K, it starts to hurt, and then I keep going. But for Kev, maybe around 100. I mean, I don't know, but the mental fortitude involved is amazing.
Yeah, you know, I always tell people, like, I get asked all the time, like, do you get bored or how do you do it, and all types of questions like that. But I always tell people that, you know, we're capable of so much more than we give ourselves credit for. Like, our bodies are actually pretty incredible machines, and like, as long as you're healthy and active and fit, there's no reason why you couldn't complete like a 50-kilometer distance. You're gonna probably be a lot slower than someone who's specifically trained for it, but it really is a mindset, and it seems impossible. And I remember thinking when I started this running journey, and people would tell me about these races, like one race in particular I did, the Canadian Death Race. I remember hearing about it as a relay, where there's 5 legs, so you can sign up to do it individually or you can do it as a relay. And I remember someone asking me if I do it as a relay with them, and I even then I thought, that's ridiculous. It's like, who does that? How can you push yourself? But when you start doing it and you realize that all you're doing is, I say this all the time, you're just walking or you're just running. You're just putting one foot in front of the other. It really is a mindset. Like, it's such a mental thing that you need to accomplish, almost more so than the physicality of it. Yes, of course you need to be fit, and but if you're not strong mentally, you're going to really struggle. And it's just having that understanding that there's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, but you're going to make it through. And not, you know, when it's high, it's not going to be high forever, and when it's low, it's not going to be low forever either. Eventually you kind of level out, and that's just the mindset.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. I like especially what you said there about like just one foot in front of the other, because I think people see like these big tasks and they become like a mountain that's impossible to climb. But when you break it down step by step, one foot in front of the other, it's the same in all sports, jiu-jitsu, or, you know, most of us watching are doing jiu-jitsu or weightlifting or CrossFit. I mean, if you look at like, well, I'm going to go to the World Championships, like that's a huge undertaking. But, you know, you take it step by step. I'm going to start training 3 or 4 times a week, and then I'm going to add in some conditioning, and then I'm going to do some local tournaments, and then some internationals, and then we slowly start cascading up, right?
100%.
So I mean, I think there's a big carryover in being able to do that, and what you talked about, the highs and the lows, I mean, man, that's like everything in life.
Yeah, for sure.
So I mean, the stuff you're learning through the sport is such a huge carryover to be able to be a successful person outside of the mat or outside of the trail or whatever. So.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
That's awesome, man. So the other thing I wanted to ask you then, with the sports and like with the ultra running, how do you feel that carries over towards your professional life? Because you're obviously performing at a high level professionally as well, being a member of the ERT team here in BC, which is a great team. I happen to know a lot of the members, a lot of awesome guys, which is actually how we met, through a mutual friend of ours. So I would imagine the carryover there is
yeah, absolutely.
huge.
I mean, like, first of all, like, I probably wouldn't. I mean, the fact that I work with these guys is a huge motivator. I mean, you can't not be fit or active or involved. And honestly, I'm getting up there. I'm 42. Been doing it, like, this specific job for 11 years now. So, and you see a lot of the younger guys coming in that are just machines and just super fit, athletic, and a lot of skills in various areas. So just being amongst a group like that, you can't help but be motivated to be better. and how this translates to my job or my job into what I do. It's like anything like that job. Yeah, we've definitely faced adversity sometimes. I've been on some pretty challenging, like physically challenging calls where you're having to perform your duty in pretty adverse conditions, and just having that mindset. And like, obviously, I'm in a team environment in that case, so you can draw a lot of strength from your teammates and help from them, and vice versa. You give them strength as well when they need it. You work in that cohesive environment, but certainly that adversity and facing that and just not giving up, because that's not an option at all when we're in those environments or when we're on a specific mission. We can't quit. So just having that attitude translates into ultra running as well. Like knock on wood, I haven't DNF'd, which is do not finish. It's a common term in like an ultra running race. I haven't had one yet. I know that there may come a day, but that's just not an option for me. I mean, if I'm in a 100-mile race and I'm struggling, and I've struggled a lot many times, I just, like, quitting does not enter my mind. It's just not an option. If I have to crawl to the finish line, I'll crawl to the finish line and get it done. So that's what it takes.
I somehow have a difficult time imagining you crawling anywhere, buddy. And it's awesome, man, because you started doing jiu-jitsu. I mean, you're doing jiu-jitsu with me, which is great. You did the last in-house tournament, whooped some butt, looked good.
Yeah,
took home
fun, man.
The gold medal. The day after running 70 kilometers on a training run.
Yeah, it wasn't planned that way, but that's the way it happened.
No, yeah, I think you were going to do 50.
Yeah.
And then he was waiting for me to finish training. He decided to wait for me and then do an extra 10K with me. Yeah. So, that's the mindset involved there, guys. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty incredible, man. So for you guys who are wondering where we are, we're actually sitting at the base of, I guess, the McKee Peak Trail,
right.
It's called. Ledgeview Mountain, Ledgeview for you guys who know Abbotsford. And so Kev's got a race. He's actually the race director as well for the Run for Water. And so that's a charity. What they do is raise funds for building wells in Ethiopia.
Correct.
So because all the races were canceled, Kev would normally be working on that, and the race would typically be at the end of this month.
Right, on the same weekend, actually. It was scheduled for May 30th.
For May 30th. So because that run's not going ahead, Kev's decided to undertake the challenge of raising the funds himself.
Yeah.
So what he's doing is here at the base of the mountain where we are right now, it's 2.5K up, basically 2.5K back down, with lots of elevation gain, 5 kilometers. So he's going to be doing 32 laps, which is 160K, roughly 100 miles, to raise funds for the Run for Water. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that, Kev?
Yeah. So like Jay said, I've been race directing the trail race. So Run for Water has two divisions. They do the road race, which has been, I guess this would have been the 11th year of the road race, which is 5, 10 and a half marathon. I used to do a full road marathon, and about 5 years ago, just got together with the organizers for Run for Water and said, hey, let's put on a trail race, because trail race it's definitely a growing sport in the community here, worldwide actually. It's gained a lot of traction here in Abbotsford and Fraser Valley and even Lower Mainland BC. We didn't have any races here yet at the time, so we came up with the Run for Water Trail Race, which happens on Sumas Mountain. Our first year we just did a 10K, and then the subsequent years we did a 10, a 25, and a 50K. So this year, because of COVID, all our races have been postponed until September, but it's super unlikely. In fact, the road race has been canceled at this point, because there's no way we're going to get permits to get 5,000 people in Mill Lake Park, and certainly the trail race is looking that way too. So Run for Water, this is their main fundraiser. This is what they rely on every year. My wife and I had the privilege of going to Ethiopia 2017, and to see firsthand the difference that this charity makes, and let me tell you, it was life-changing to see the impact that just clean water has on a small village, something that we take for granted every day. So my wife and I, we talked about how can we help, and I've been thinking about doing this silly 100 miles on these trails. I've done lots of training on this mountain for other races, but never that far. So I thought, hey, you know what, I'd love to the challenge of doing that, but I just didn't want to do it for no reason. So my wife and I came up with the idea of let's do it for Run for Water and try to raise some money. So they have this virtual run that same weekend. It's something you can sign up on through runforwater.ca. It's a free race, and you have the option of fundraising if you choose to. So I did that instead of the 5 or 10K like they ask you to do. I just thought I'd do 100 miles. 5 or 10K,
so, just do 32 laps of it, no problem.
Yeah, so it'll be 100 miles, which is 160K, and about 9,000 meters or 27,000 feet of gaining. So I'm hoping it'll go well, and asking people to support Run for Water by making a donation based either a one-time donation, or they can pledge per lap. That'll do. So like I said, I'm not doing any more than 32. So if people want to donate $5 or $10 a lap, that's their choice, up to a certain amount, and that's all on the fundraising page.
Yeah. So I mean, that's incredible, guys. So I mean, the fundraiser's already going really well.
Yeah, it's going amazingly well. Like it's actually overwhelming to see the support that I've gotten. I wasn't expecting. I didn't want to set a goal, fundraising goal, because I had no idea, and I didn't honestly. I think a little part of me didn't want to be disappointed by setting a goal and not reaching it.
Yeah.
But I've far surpassed what I thought I was gonna make, and be able to give back to Run for Water. So it's been really cool.
So that's awesome, guys. So what we'll do is we'll make sure we're gonna link all that stuff for you guys. So if you want to get involved that way by making a donation, or even sharing it with some friends, family that you think might be interested. We have our friend Alex Parmar, AP Media, who's helping us with the videos and stuff. So Alex is going to get that stuff out to you guys, and we'll get some shots and some videos of Kev actually during the race. You're going to see my ugly mug a little bit more, because I'm going to follow Kev around and try not to slow him down too much during the race. We're going to get back at the end of the month. And I think that's about it. We'll make sure we get you guys the links. Yeah, anything else you want to say, Kevin?
No, man, just thank you very much for the opportunity, Jay. It's always good to chat and hopefully motivate guys if they're interested in running. It's an awesome, it's something we could do this whole time under quarantine, and it's I love it. I love the solitude of. There's some awesome trails here in Abbotsford. There's a ton of places to. If you don't like hitting the pavement, which I'm not a big fan of, there's really, really cool trails and places to see. So it's just a good way to get fit and healthy. Yeah, awesome, guys. So we'll wrap it up there. I'll make sure I get all those links out for you guys. If you want to support the run, we'd really appreciate it. Support the cause, the trail Run for Water, and we'll talk to you guys all real soon. Thanks, Kev. Thanks.